You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
And today on this Wellness Wednesday edition, we're going to be looking at, will alcohol hurt your weight loss goals? But also we're going to look at it in terms of overall health, right? Because as I mentioned in the past, if your body is healthy, you will be at your ideal body weight. That's just the way it works. So meaning that there's something inside of your body right now that is not allowing you to boost your metabolism and return to your healthy goal weight. So let's look at that in terms of alcohol. So there's a lot of people out there who do like to consume alcohol, maybe socially, just a couple drinks on the weekend, and there's a lot of other people who like to have a couple glasses of wine maybe every night. So let's look at first the effects of alcohol to the body, and then also how we can possibly add that into an overall healthy lifestyle to be able to still lose weight. So some of the short-term effects, many of us know this. Of course, if you've had some alcohol before, you might know that there can be slurred speech, some drowsiness, upset stomach. You might drink a little bit too much and have to throw up or vomit. You can get loose stool. You can get upset stomach. You can get headaches. These are all short-term. You can get blurred vision, obviously impaired judgment, which may not go well with your night's plans, but also in terms of driving. Of course, you don't want to be anywhere behind a wheel, even in my opinion, even just with one drink. I don't think that the risk is worth it for yourself, for your family, friends, or anyone else on the road. Decreased perception, coordination, unconsciousness, anemia, which is loss of red blood cells, coma, or even some type of blackouts. So now let's look at the long-term effects of alcohol. So alcohol can end up in larger injuries, right? So you can actually become quite inebriated, you can fall down, you can injure yourself in some way, right? That might not happen to a lot of people listening to this podcast, but it can happen. There is that long-term effect that could hurt you in life. There's also a lot of issues around relationships do stem from sometimes excessive alcohol or excessive drinking. There's alcohol poisoning. There's also slower alcohol poisoning where it starts to really do a number on your liver, meaning your liver is meant to detoxify all of the toxins in your body, and when it has alcohol or ethanol poured into it, it then has to remove that from the bloodstream. When that happens, you have to use something called phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. And that's quite a bit of stress on the liver. So that's going to play into our weight loss goals, and you're going to hear about that in one moment. But just keep in mind that there's increased risk for heart attack, there's increased risk for stroke, other heart-based or cardiovascular-based issues, there's increased risk for nerve damage, myelin tissue damage, there's sexual-based issues as well that go along with large consumptions of alcohol. There's B vitamin deficiency, which gets used up greatly by alcohol, especially B1. There's vitamin C deficiency, basically all of your minerals and vitamins as well. There can be damage to the brain, especially the frontal lobe for memory, for decision making, all of those things. There's issues for the stomach lining. It can wear away at the mucosa. It can actually break down the stomach tissue, lead to gastritis, but also ulcers as well. It can lead to malnutrition because you're not going to properly absorb many of the foods when consumed with alcohol. And also, your body becomes quite acidic with alcohol, so it's going to use more of the minerals like calcium and magnesium to alkalize the bloodstream and keep it at that nice level pH. So do keep in mind there are all of these reasons that drinking alcohol is not a healthy thing. Now, a lot of people say, well, if I drink alcohol, it may actually cut down on cardiovascular. Not as much as it could actually increase cardiovascular-based issues. So yes, there's some research for certain blood type alleles, meaning like a a 2,3 or 3,3 allele, which is essentially a genotype that you can have tested for your genes. You can just have your DNA tested. There's a test that we used right on our website. Just go to the store on the StephenCabral.com website. You'll see the DNA test. And actually, it's amazing, and it tells you which allele you are. And that actually tells you if alcohol will hurt you in terms of this inflammation process or help you. But again, not overriding will it help you with all the other things I spoke about, but can it decrease a little bit of this inflammation? So if you're a 4,4 or a 3,4 allele, alcohol will actually increase your bad cholesterol and lower your good cholesterol. Not a good thing, and not what we've been told in the past, right? 1 or 2 glasses of wine per night or alcohol per night may actually benefit you, but that's simply not the case with everyone. That's what the case with, well, about 84% of the population. So quite a bit, but not everyone, and you have to find out if you're one of those people. So here's the thing. We know that it's hard on the nervous system, it's hard on the detox system, it's hard on the heart, it's hard on the brain, it is hard on the liver, and even the muscles, because the muscles can be quite fatigued after a day of drinking because it can actually poison the mitochondria and hurt with a lot of energy-based production. So let's talk now about weight loss. What could you do for your weight loss? Meaning this, so when you consume alcohol, just right off the bat, about 6 ounces of red wine is about comparable to 12 ounces of beer, as well as 1.5 ounces of hard alcohol. So those 3 types of alcohol equal about 120 calories. All right, so that's just straight off the bat, we look at calories. Now, it's also somewhere around 30 grams of sugar. So it's just alcohol, but it is sugar. Now, keep in mind that is very important to look at because these are empty calories we're talking about. These are empty calories that are going to go directly to body fat if not used within the body. And of course, if you're relaxed, you're most likely sitting down. There's no likelihood that you're going to be using this. And also, sugar alcohol is equated at a little over 6 calories per gram instead of the typical 4 calories per gram with regular carbohydrates. So all of these add up to a greater amount of calories intake throughout the day. But also more than that, when you're drinking alcohol, a lot of people then they let a lot of their inhibitions go, meaning like they're going to have maybe some late night snacking or pizza or foods that they typically might not have at a meal when they go out. So do keep that in mind. And then also, how are you feeling the next day after you're drinking? If you're not feeling that well, are you going to look towards salads or healthy vegetables or smoothies? No, you might be looking more towards comfort foods, heavier fatty type foods that might help feel like you're going to absorb some of the alcohol, even though that's not going to happen. Or you might want, besides the fried foods, some heavier comfort foods, some more carbohydrate based. You're not going to be as in tune and looking for all of those healthy things that can help then repair the body because you're feeling a little hungover. You're not feeling your best. And also, you might reach for more coffee or things that might further dehydrate you because you're lower on energy. So keep in mind that it affects your weight loss? Absolutely. It absolutely does. But as a consequence of it affecting your health and you not making the best choices. So yes, it's increased sugar intake for sure, but it's raising other things as well. Like it's raising inflammation. That's going to make you hold more water weight. Like I always talked about this toxic water weight that your body's holding, that if you simply detoxified, if you simply did an elimination diet, that you got a lot of these things out of your body, you'd drop 5 or 10 pounds in a week. It's absolutely amazing what happens as the body starts to get healthier. This isn't just body fat. This is toxic inflammation-based water weight that your body is holding. Alcohol, especially red wine too, also increases not environmental, but actual estrogen levels in the body. And this does affect a lot of women, and especially with premenstrual syndrome-based symptoms. So do look at that too. And if you're increasing your alcohol consumption during the warmer weather, it's something to take into account. It's something to take into account why you might be looking a little softer maybe, or holding on to a little bit more water weight because of the toxic effects it does have on your body. So one of the things that I looked at in my research as well is because alcohol has been used throughout, the blue zones, which are the longest lived people. In my studies overseas, when I was in India, I actually had some of this ashwagandha-based wine, which is a longevity-based wine. That's essentially the ashwagandha is infused in alcohol, making it a specific wine. It was actually quite tasty. But here's the difference, that in a lot of other cultures, the wine has had like 3 or 4 ounces. It's like a half a glass of wine, and you're having that with your meal, typically the last meal of the day, sometimes lunch if you're allowed to take a little rest afterwards. Like in Europe, previously there used to be a little siesta, time down. And the alcohol is very acidic, and that would, taken with the meal, it would actually allow for better digestion. And in Ayurvedic times, they would infuse herbs with the wine, and you get the benefits of the herbs coming directly into the body. But again, this is half a glass of wine. It's a very small amount. We're not having 2-3 glasses. And the other thing, in the longevity-based studies, it shows that it can be used to relax the body, to calm the body. And that can be very beneficial, right? If alcohol is something that calms your body down, takes you out of the fight or flight response, well, that could be beneficial. I certainly wouldn't recommend it every night. And I would also recommend just that half a glass, or just, maybe 1 glass at the most. But we have to look at our daily consumption and our weekly consumption. And also, if you're not healthy right now, I really can't recommend alcohol as any part of your diet. You do have to remove it at least for a period of 21 to 28 days. If you can get that 3 weeks without alcohol, you're going to see amazing things happen with your body. Like we do the Dr. Cabral detox. If you're going to go for it and you want to do all 21 days because there's a wellness-based issue you're dealing with, or you need to lose 15 or more pounds, well, this will get you there. But the amazing thing is that you're going to feel the difference over your whole body. Like your skin's going to look better. You're going to have more energy. You're going to sleep better. You're going to wake up with more energy, and you're going to have less brain fog. So yes, you'll lose weight, all of that great stuff, but that less inflammation leads to less pain. And so when you have these things, a lot of times you realize once you start drinking alcohol again of what it does to your body. So keep in mind, unless there's a period of time where you eliminate first, you never know how good your body can feel, and you never know how this particular type of substance, whether it be food or alcohol, supplement or drug, is affecting your body. There has to be a period of time where you eliminate, and then you add back in and say, oh, how do I do with this? How do I do with it just on a Thursday and Saturday night? How do I do with it just on a Saturday night? Or how do I do with it every other night, or then every day? What does your body feel like? Do you start to creep backwards? That's why keeping a little food journal really does help. But a period of elimination first is just such a great recommendation for most people. So, can alcohol be a healthy part of an overall lifestyle? Maybe, and I agree with it socially. Maybe once a week you go out with friends, you have a great time, you enjoy yourself, you don't overindulge, but yes, you unwind, you have fun, and you're trying to do something somewhat healthy for alcohol, meaning like you're not doing a lot of mixers with it that can just drastically raise the sugar levels, like a sour mix or something like that. So it absolutely can be a fun and healthy part of an overall healthy lifestyle. But I would say really getting past once a week, maybe twice, I think you're overdoing it. But as always, as I always say, get to your goals first. Reach your goals first. Enjoy that then. Give yourself that little reward, whatever it might be. Now, don't use alcohol as a reward, but the reward would then be going out with your friends and building it in a new variable to your lifestyle, which you know that isn't going to be the healthiest, but you're compensating with all the other healthy things that you're doing on a daily basis, like your exercise, maybe some meditation, your AM smoothie, your, every month, every season detox, those types of things. So keep in mind, these are all things that help then balance the alcohol intake. So again, it's not about moderation. It's more about balance, getting yourself healthy first, and then figuring out what works best for your body. And that's truly what functional medicine is. So hopefully this episode shed a little bit of light on, will alcohol affect your weight loss? And yes, it absolutely will. Lose the weight first, start to gradually add back in the alcohol. I think you'll get your best results that way. And I know for our clients in Boston, that is absolutely the best way that they get results and become a huge success story. Thank you, everyone, once again for tuning into the Cabral Concept.
I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.